Do you mind if I ask you a few sort of funny lightning round questions?
Yeah, let's do it. I can't promise to be fast answers, but let's go for it.
Well, we talked about checks. So last time you wrote a check as a payout to someone else, do you remember?
It was, I would be surprised if it was within the last decade.
The last decade?
Yeah. But I will say my wife writes 6 checks a year. And we know which one it is. It's 6 checks a year to our landscaping company that takes care of the yard. She writes 6 checks a year.
That's
and I think
funny.
at every time we have to write those checks because they want them post dated,
Yeah.
we scramble around the house, open
I
up
know,
every
right?
drawer,
Where's the
looking
checkbook?
for
Right.
looking for some sort of check. We just don't write checks anymore.
So I'll bet the answer to this question is not the last decade. When was the last time you received a check as a payout? Don't tell me 10 years.
No. I think
10
one of my
minutes.
last, I think within the last month and a half, I received a healthcare reimbursement via a check, which took way too long.
Took way too long.
And just,
And it may not have even been a significant amount of money that you felt compelled to cash, and then that presents a whole other problem.
Right. It's
for
probably still sitting
the
in a drawer
sender. It's
that's,
sitting in a
hasn't
drawer.
been, yeah.
The slow payout experience that really annoys you.
Well, I've got, if you have time, let me
I have time.
tell a bit
I
of
have
a
all the
story
time in
here.
the world.
So this happened last month. And I was moving money from my bank. In fact, I was moving some investments from my bank into an investment platform. And so I had a digital experience, which was actually quite good. And, in instructing how to make that move. And I understood, I got some questions back, and I felt okay with knowing that they're just double checking and confirming it's me, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
And so that took a day or two. And so I was like, okay, let's move on. Let's get this going because it's definitely me. And so that's fine. A couple days later, the money disappears from my bank. And I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. It's on its way.
It's on its way.
And then I go to my investment platform and I look at the status and it says, waiting on the bank. So, okay, well, I'm in this industry. I'll wait a day or so to sort of, so I'm starting
Before I get worried.
I'm giving myself some level of, grace and trying to relax about it. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but I didn't feel like at that point it was lost.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
it's in process and that's okay. Day 4, day 5,
So now you're one of these "where was my money" guys.
I am. I've become one of "where is my money" guys.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I did. I picked up the phone. I'm done with the chat. I'm going to pick up the phone and call and find out where it is. And of course, I get the answer of it's, in process with the bank. It's happening. Don't worry. It usually takes somewhere between 5 and 18 days. I remember specifically getting 18 days. And I'm thinking, there shouldn't be.
Is someone walking it to
Yeah,
the bank?
exactly. And in fact, the head offices of these 2 locations is less than a 5-minute walk away. So, I mean, it wouldn't even take that long. And so, of course, now I start to push around. Can I, I call my bank as well, by the way. Right. So now I'm calling multiple call centers because I'm just curious of what's happening. They open up an investigation, which is great. So now there's more people involved in this little journey, which I'm just interested from an experience perspective. I'm really not worried that the money just has been lost. Well, what I found out was after the investigation that the bank cut a check to send to the investment brokerage, of which then they would have to deposit the check and whatever. And at that point, the brokerage told me that it could take as much as 3 weeks. So I'm thinking this is just an
Meanwhile, you've lost all the opportunities in the market to reinvest your money.
Yeah, which you maybe at this point, given the markets.
Yeah, given the market, you could have gone up or down. Maybe you were lucky. But still.
But that to me is an experience. It's just an annoyance of someone's sort of not on the ball there. There's something broken.
Something is broken. Yeah, that's a similar experience, but that's just it shouldn't happen. Should not happen.
That's right.
What does the power of now, the moving money at the speed of life, mean to a sender?
To the sender. I think it means operational efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
I think it means removing costs with regards to fraud. I think it means delivering on expectations of clients. I think it's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is it's security on knowing what my liquidity position is. It's security of knowing that my cash flow, because moving this money in real time. I don't have checks floating out there with liabilities sort of sitting all over the place and not sure when they're going to hit. I think it's control, certainty, and cost reduction.
What about to the receiver, to ask an obvious question?
Yeah, to the receiver, it is control, it's certainty, it's confidence, it's trust, it's knowing that the money is where it's supposed to be. What's interesting though is it's not exceeding expectation.
Right. No,
it
you're
is
right.
Simply meeting my expectation.
Yeah, you're right.
So anything less than that, anything less than invisible, and it just happens as expected, is a souring experience. I've always said that payments there's more likely an opportunity to disappoint during a payment experience than to delight. The reality is the only way to delight is for it not to happen at all.
Exactly. To be invisible and just move on. I want you to look in your crystal ball. So look in your crystal ball. Karen mentioned the year that we won't be talking about real time as an aspirational goal when it comes to payouts.
I don't think it's soon. I think in some segments of the market, we could say it's probably here now. And certainly in the fintech digital world, digital native, it's here now, and I think that's the expectation.
But in the areas we look at.
In the areas in which we look at, I think the reality is, and the reality of the payments world, is new payment types come up, but none of them ever go away. I mean, like a check continues to sit there, and it'll be there for many years to come, in my opinion. At what point does the tipping feel like the slow payment is more the anomaly versus the other way around, in which we have today? I don't think it's within 5 years. I think it's somewhere in the 5 to 10, and I'll slot myself in the middle around 7 or 8 in these industries.
I mean, it sounds like a long time, but it's not really that long. But it's long. But we'll talk with you and your colleagues about some of the specific use cases around the expectation of when, even in 3 years, real time becomes something they aspire to get to. But it's a long journey.
Yeah.
Okay, final question. When your kids ask you what you do at work, what do you say?
Well, this is good. So I have a 16-year-old son, and so he sort of knows what I do, and he's a bit of an investor, trader, likes to sort of play and dabble in this space. And the reality is, I get the lens of his experience in the financial services world in which he's dabbling in, and frankly, none of it meets his satisfaction. He doesn't like any of the experiences he's run into when it comes to money movement. Like the experience I just talked about, he feels like I'm personally responsible for the failures of his role. So I'm not sure he thinks I am very good at my job. So I try to avoid those conversations altogether.
Well, it's funny because friction is all a matter of degree. I mean, remember going to the bank and putting money in a passbook. That's how you saved money. I mean, going back to the way back days. But you're right. I mean, friction is something that's intolerable for all of us. But for the younger generation that is digital native, it's just unacceptable.
Yeah. And it actually leads to and broken experiences in their opinion. I think, certainly me, and I'll speak for myself, I've tolerated some level of friction because I feel like there is some reason for it, and maybe it's a little more secure, and maybe I can trust it a little more if people are double checking things. His generation, without a doubt, digitally native, completely impatient, but they've also grown up, and I just think my son, specifically, he grew up with an iPad in his hand, and if he touched the iPad screen and the screen didn't react in the way he wanted to, he thought the screen was broken. There was something wrong with the iPad. And so I think that's just the world in which they live in. So the expectation is just getting greater and greater. And the things we even remotely tolerate today are not anything that they're going to tolerate. We did some interesting Gen Z research, and they are by far the first generation at a much greater amount to just abandon experiences at that first minimal sign of friction. And I see my son doing it all the time. He'll download apps on his iPhone and he quickly deletes them if he just couldn't get it going in that instant moment, even if he still wanted it, he'll just search for another one that gives him that better experience.
Well, Jim, we think you're doing a pretty good job, despite
Thank
what your
you. I
son
appreciate
thinks.
that. I appreciate that.
But there's a lot of work to be done, and we appreciated the opportunity to really dig into specific use cases to understand the sources of friction, but also, what's necessary to bridge the readiness gap. Because to your point, everyone wants to do better. They just need a better way to get there. So
Yeah.
thank you for all that you do to make that happen.
Thank you, Karen.
It was great to see you.
Great to
Thank
see
you.
Thank you.